I don't know, Perek is a little bit of a, in a way, it's a shorter Perek, whatever. We'll see. We'll start and we'll see. So, for those who are with us until now, every week besides last week, um, Perek Chesbin starts a new idea. Until now, from Perek Aleph till Zayin, we're speaking about how all the Olamus, everything that Hashem created was all totally bottled to Hashem. We started in Perek Aleph, we brought from the Pasuk, Olam Hashem Dvaracha, and Perek Beis, we brought it from, we said that something that a person creates is different than something that Hashem creates. Something that Hashem creates is Yesh Me'ayin, and something that a person creates is not. It's not really creating. Then we asked the question: if everything's totally bottled, why do we see in Parashim? We said, why does the world look like it exists? We explained the whole idea that Hashem created the world through a tzimtzum. That was the general Perek Aleph design. Now Perek Ches has to explain that how about Achdus Hashem and Hashem Himself. There's machlokes between all the Rishonim going back. That what.
Over here. She's over here.
How are you?
Here. Turn around, turn around. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Turn around, turn around.
So good to see you.
Twice. Right? Here's out. Here's some others out.
So there's a machlokes between all the Rishonim when we speak about Hashem. That what is it? So in Perek Beis and Tanya really in the Agad, the Alter Rebbe already mentions it. That the Rambam says that what is Hashem? Hashem is Seichel. And anything that we speak about Hashem, any tire that we get, any description we give to Hashem is just Dibra Akasha B'Lashon Neyadam. When the Torah says Chanun, Hashem is kind, or any of that, it's just it's a marshal for us. But Hashem is Seichel. But the Ramban argues, the Ramban says no, that Hashem, when Hashem, different ways we describe Hashem, they're all part of part of Hashem. So how does this work? How does it seemingly then you have a ribu in Hashem? So he says it's not a ribu. Why? Because he says just like if a person makes it many tables, let's say he makes 10 tables, doesn't mean that he becomes mulk of the tables, doesn't become 10 tables. It's just something that he created. So he says the same thing is by the Eibishter. The Eibishter created everything that all the spheres are all creations. So since all the spheres are creations, and we learned in the first Parkim of HaYichud that all the creations are totally bottled to him, that Hashem is a murkav with the spheres, that there's something he created. He can't be one with something he created.
No, he is one of
he is one with something created. They're not, but it's not
a table that somebody made.
Yeah, but it's not. He's not. He's not murkav with it. He's not as Hashem and as a spheres.
Right.
He's after. We'll see inside in a minute, but so now Alter Rebbe is going to have to explain because Alter Rebbe. We're going to say Alter Rebbe's chiddush in this parak is that the Rambam says that Hashem is one with his seichel. Now Alter Rebbe is going to explain that it's not only by Hashem's seichel, but it's by all the spheres that Hashem is one of them. Okay, let's start inside. We're starting Perek.
Hey.
Hey.
It's a lot here. Sure. Like option hey.
Okay, so the Hine Masha Kosav Rambam Zal Shakodish Baruch Hu Mahusay Vats Musay Vidaita Kol Efan Mamish Ach just Shuta below Murkeves Klal. So yeah, the Rambam writes that Hashem is one with his Seichel Keino Inyan Mamish the Chol Midusa Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not only the Rambam only said it about Seichel that Hashem is one with his Chachma. The Alter Rebbe says, "Kinu mamish b'chol midus of the same thing as by all Hashem's midus, b'chol shemos of hakdoshim v'kinuyim shekinu loyan v'im v'chazal." The Alter Rebbe writes the same thing by all the names that we describe Hashem. Here the Alter Rebbe says that it's achdus pshuta, because why you can have something like, let's say for example a person. Speak out a person is lashon yachid. Eli is one person, but a person is made up of many different things. So you have your eyes, you have your ears, your nose, you have the rest of the body. That's still echad. A person is one, but achdus hapashut means that it's just one that's not made up of anything else. That's achdus. That's what Alter Rebbe says that it's achdus pshuta.
Where is Zadie?
Huh? Where is Zadie? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, same idea.
What's the
Lashon?
Usa, Atzmuso? It does.
Atzmus with Daita, I guess Atzmus is the Hashem himself. With Daita is who Amada, who you do all that.
Mehus.
But Machus and Atzmus.
Form, being, and knowledge.
What's the difference between Machus and Atzmus? Say?
Tata is very medai. It's
Right.
Mehus.
Atzmus say.
It's all Mehus. You know, he always says it's all Mehus is this and this. It's all Metzius is this and this. Like you're using this lot of it's Mehus is just.
When we say Lashon Machus Atzmus Yispareh, Machus Atzmus Yispareh.
We saying it?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of somewhere.
Something in the beginning of time.
Tanya, yeah. That's what Atzmus
Maybe.
Yispareh.
No, maybe.
That's not V'daita, that's not speaking on Hashem's task. Somewhere in the beginning. Can't think of the percentage. But where's the Lashon in the beginning of Tanya? Mahusev Atzmus Yispareh. Perek Matcha.
It's based on the fourth line.
Is that Elohu, Shaur, Hamad, HaYichud? Is there nine the Nipa?
The fourth line, why don't I see it?
We'll say, to the typist, we miss a Chayish, but then it's still.
Where is it?
We'll get it. No. So.
Anyways, I don't know. Mahusev Atzmusev. Daita, I think, Daita is because the whole Rambam is that Hashem is one with his Seichel.
Mahusa, that's Musa, Harishan.
And Perek base in the end, right?
Yeah.
Page 12, fourth line from the bottom. Again.
3 times it speaks.
Meusim ve'atzmusim. And Chochmeh.
Right, saying the same thing about Muslim.
Right.
Yeah, but it's I don't know, it's a deal, but it's not really the Diakim saying it. Alter brings it here, but it's the Chalal. Saying the Lashon.
The Rambam bring it.
We always say Lashon of Atzmus Mahus.
Right, Atzmusim was.
Yeah.
You said the word Atzmusim, that's it.
I think this the Rebbe once said about the Perek, but there was Atzmus Mahus and Lubash Beguf. I don't know.
The Rebbe could say.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know the Lashon of Atzmus Mahus. What's the difference from Atzmus Mahus? But I'm not sure.
Right, he has this expression as it's all Meus is this is
Right.
all Meus.
Yeah. I don't think we could if there's a difference in if say some or something. Normally they're connected. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think it's form and being.
What's the difference in regular English? What's the difference between a form of something, being something?
Form, you could kind of like change. I don't know. Being is what it is. A form is like something that's
Unless you want to say
able
that
change.
etzem is like how it's made, and mahus is something that's like a mahus of a person.
You could change the Meus of a person.
Yeah, but the etzem is who he is.
A black man will stay black.
Exactly. But mahus is like your
I'm sorry to say it loud.
mahus. If somebody's a nice, I don't know. But then what's the etzem thing? I'm not sure. I don't want to make it up.
Okay, but you
Yeah. And okay, so we're going to bring examples now. The Alter Rebbe is going to bring examples of the different names that we describe Hashem and how they're. We're going to take a go. Chanun v'rachum v'chasid v'yitben v'cheimash nikra chacham. The pasuk says the Talmud chacham chein ritzoynoi that we also Hashem's rotzon. How do we see that Hashem is rotzon? The pasuk says ki roitz Hashem esireyov v'chafetz chesed. V'roitz v'shvasim shal yishoyim ve'inei chafetz b'misasam v'shasam v'tarinayim miris ra. So all these psukim are saying that there's rachum by Hashem, there's chassid by Hashem, there's chacham, and the Ibish also has rotzin. So how all these descriptions, how do we say that Hashem is totally one? Seems like there's different things that come out from Hashem. So ein ritzonim v'chachmasa umidas chasta yibirachman yistiv v'shamidoyisa misifim b'yubah v'arkava chas v'shalom mosav atzmosay. Here again the lashon is mohusev atzmosay. So why isn't it that these different Tayrim, these different descriptions of Hashem aren't adding anything? Elatz Musay, Mahusay, Versoin, V'chachmasay, V'nasay, V'dait, Midasay, Chastay, V'gurasay, V'achmanusay, V'tifarti, Aklula, V'chastay, V'gurasay.
You say all the spheres.
All the spheres, yeah. Why, yeah. Hakol Achtus, Pshuta Mamish, Hi Atzmusay, Mahusay. Chmoish Chasav Rambam, like the Rambam says, Shadavar Zeh Ein Koyach Bepela. Remember, V'loi Ba'ozen L'Shmoya, V'loi B'lei Adam L'Akira Buya. Really reported this earlier on, but that. So how is it?
You can't think anything saying it.
Exactly. We're not able to understand how it could be that we brought on the God to something else, but we can't understand how it could be that Hashem
is not good enough to understand something that's more than a brain.
Exactly. That's what we're going to explain. Now we can only understand things that we see, things that we think in people terms.
No, we can understand stuff that we not see, but to a certain limit.
Right. So yeah, we can only understand things. There's a story they say about a poor man that used to go collecting, and every day he would go up all the steps, and he would come out. At the end of the day, he was very tired. So he had a big dream that when he would become rich and he'd be in charge of the city, he'd say that there could only be one level houses. He wouldn't have to go up the stairs to collect. So I'm saying everything goes up and down depending on your. For example, what people say, what's successful? Success is every person based on
his idea.
Yeah, everything's like this. Like you say, how long is a piece of string?
Depends how long you make it.
Exactly, depends how long you make it.
You are the one.
So we can only understand Hashem in a certain level. Hashem himself, again, is much on a much different level.
All the tenth.
So the 10th verse, how we see the 10th verse is one way.
He giving it to us we should have some kind of message, that's what we should have something to say about.
But
it's more than that. It's different than that.
Yeah, but by the Eibush himself, really we come back in Perek Ches in a way is more about how much Shavah Dibur Maisa and all the Sfiras Abayas. In Perek Ches, it really goes back to the Eibush, how it is by the Eibush. It says, Ki Adam Mitzayer B'Sichlo Yikol HaMuscheles Sheroitze Lahaskel. What does a person Mitzayer B'Sichlo? He thinks about HaMuscheles Sheroitze Lahaskel Lahavin Hakol K'Moshe Hu Bay Shein Bay Kigoin Sheroitze L'Tzayer B'Sichlo Mahus HaRatzon Mahus Chachma Yvina Aydas Mahav Mahus Midas Chesed Racham Mechit Ben L'Tzayer Kulam K'Moshe Ein Bay. When a person wants to think about something, what does he think about? He thinks about either something he learned that day or a person he wants to be kind to, thinks about something that he's involved with, something that he understands that he can put on his level.
For example, chesed. You want to do chesed. Some people want to do chesed to feed animals in Africa.
Right. Yeah.
Because the people sitting next to them, poor people, they don't care. The symptom of the sechel, they have chesed, but the chesed is going to another stuff. But something with the
if one is kind to the cruel
to the kind,
the cruel will end up being cruel to the kind.
Right. I don't know if that's what we're saying here. That's a separate. But the same
here,
yeah.
I want to bring out the force. The way we're thinking, if we're thinking chesed, it's chesed.
But it's it's all relative to the person, basically.
To the person.
Yeah. And the same thing is by seichel. A person's seichel will only think about something that he understands.
If I give $1 million to a little baby, he will use it to buy
a
car.
Exactly.
So he's using his seichel, but
right. That's what we're going to say. After I was going to bring it in a minute about a cotton. That a cotton, why does a cotton get excited about a lollipop or something small? Because the seichel is much lower. But an older person.
Something else. We think about the like a baby, like
our
focus is so small that it's much more.
Right.
We don't have seichel to understand how big is the Eibishter. We don't have a kli to.
Very good. Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. Yeah. So Avol be'emes Hakadosh Baruch Hu Ram v'Nisa b'Kadosh Shemai. That Hashem is Kadosh. What's Kadosh? Kadosh means in English it means holy, but what's something that's holy?
Separate.
Holy means that it's separated. I remember, like in the L'chaim lamplighter thing, 1 week there was a whole article.
Yesterday's chumash. What's a harlot? Kadesha.
Okay.
And the rabbi was listening to Rabbi Gordon yesterday. Literally, it means separate.
But I remember in lamplighter, they had a whole thing about that sports players are whole college because they're separate from the fans.
Again.
They had a whole article 1 week about that sports players when they're playing, they're Kaddish because they're removed from everybody else. Every time somebody screams something at them, they would listen, then they wouldn't be able to play.
So when they're on the game on the
They're
field,
moved or they're separated from everyone else.
they're not looking at the
yeah. So whatever. I don't know what they were writing it about.
But that's in a good.
Yeah, that Kaddish means moved. Kaddish means that it's separated from. That's how they were bringing it out. The idea of Kaddish means something that's separated. You take something regular and you separate it for Hashem. So why do we call Kaddish? How do we describe Hashem as Kaddish Baruch Hu? Because we can't give any other descriptions to Hashem. Because if we're going to start describing Hashem any other way, then say in davening that we say Hakel Hagadol Hagibur, and Shulchan Aruch says you can't add anything else. It's only those three because Moshe added. Because if you start adding, then
City used to daven middle the Shmonah, so they say, "Oh, Tati, you know." I talking to the Rebbe. Did you have sukkah, or you actually talking to the Rebbe?
Right.
You mashana the wood of the. That's
yeah.
And it's halacha-wise, you're allowed to do it, and not allowed to do it.
But we're saying that with adding other ways, if you add Chanun and Rachum and all of those things, you're not allowed to add because then it says you start adding, then if you're limited. Yeah,
and it's more
exactly. So that's why you can't add besides for whatever it says in davening because those are from Moshe and Anshe Knesset Gedolah. So Koloi Mashu was Kaddish and moved. Hashem is separated. Riboy Rivav is adding Kate Vetachlis Madrigas Havdalis Lamayla Me'erech Besuk Umin Kalatis Brachos Va'Mayla Shiyuchlu Hanevroyim Lahasig Olatai V'Sichon. That Hashem is much higher than anything that anyone can that any nivra, any creation can understand.
I think like in Rosh Hashanah, people one of the davening we say the whole world will be like a cloud and the whole ocean will be ink. We're not gonna have enough to write the Shevach.
Really, we say it in Nishmas.
Yeah, but this is like small, and this over there, Rosh Hashanah, one of the beauty things is like
that if
mobile because we're making them melech that day. So
right, says more. Fine. So that's the first part. So now we're going to explain. We're saying that all the spheres by the Eibishter one. Now we're going to explain how it is by a person. Now, what's the first sphere by the person? There's Chachma, and obviously the same thing as we're going to explain is by the Eibishter is actually going to be the other way around. The Chachma is going to be the lowest. But he hamaylo madrega rishona itel anavrayim he Chachma shalachay nikras reishis ki be'emes hu reishis o makar kol hachayis b'nevrayim. That it says that Targum Yonason, I think Targum Yonason when he Bereshis Bar, he translates as Bereshis Bar Targum as Chachmasa, yeah. That because we're saying that what's Chachma? Chachma is the first one of the spheres. Kime Chachma nimshachas bino adas. Just very quickly, what's the difference between Chachma bino adas? That Chachma is the first idea. Bina is when it already comes down into bring it down into more pratim, and das is how you make it, how you apply it to yourself. Yeah, I think that's enough for now. After it comes to das, then it can come down and affect the midas. Comes down and can affect the person out. His Avos Hashem, Yiras Hashem. That's why Siddim used to think Siddur for hours before davening. That it affects them.
earlier the Avos there.
Yeah, says that.
Like you can walk in Shmonah. You have to go to Zimra, Kriyat Shema, you know. Then you get Shmonah. Something the old Achona that we did is to get to that level.
I just heard that it said that I think in Lubavitch, but that they used to learn 3 hours of Chassidus before Shabbos. It wouldn't have Kabbalah Shabbos before they learned 3 hours of Chassidus. Think that they'll think about it till they'll be feeling the right way to start Shabbos.
Sorry.
Right. They used to go swimming in Lubavitch, I think, on Fridays.
There was no much sun.
Yeah. And whatever, I guess it used to be dangerous. You needed to know how to swim. I don't know.
In the summer in Morristown, they also go swimming.
So, how do we see this idea that the Chacham bin a das then affect them with this? You see, Shakaton she'in boy das who cast on that a cotton doesn't have das, so he gets angry quickly. V'achzari v'gam avasa he l'dvarim ktanim shein roi la'ayavam b'fnei she'im by das lo'iv dvarim haruim la'avas la'avam she'avav kfi hadas. Since explaining now the midas of hadas, a cotton who doesn't have seichel, he can also. That's why he likes smaller things and he gets annoyed at smaller things because his das is a much lower level. Now, so let's do one more line. Nefes machsheves bedavar sheyeves oyeich lifol hachesed v'rachmim v'chein b'shar midas. Now, what happens after a person has midas? After the person has midas, then it comes back to machshava. What does a person think about during the day? If somebody gets into a fight with somebody, either good or bad. If a person gets into a fight with somebody, the whole day they're busy thinking about what the guy said, what he should have said. So the midas of a person also affects his machshava. And also in a good way, if a person likes something, they're busy thinking about the whole day. So after the person has chacham b'das, which then affects his midas, then the midas go back to machshava. It says that it says that machshava is always working. What's the machshava always thinking about? The machshava is always thinking about what a person's involved with, whatever is involved during the day. That's what he's thinking about. So chol machshava she'ba'olam lebeshes ba eize midah hamavia lachshiv machshava zu midah zu hi chayusa shel machshava zu. It says osis hamachshava nimsheches osis hadibur vehein chayis mamash. So what happens after the machshava? Then the machshava goes to, after a person thinks about it, then it comes to dibur. And what happens after dibur? Dibur maybe lidei maisat. For what's an example? Maisat stock v'chesed kigoyin melech shemitzavala avodav litin. This melech, the melech really has all three things because the melech has the machshava by himself. Then has the dibur that is telling somebody else to do it, and then there's the maisat that the guy himself is going to do it. So we spoke about how you have chacham bin adas, then the midas, and then machshava dibur ma'aser. Now, what happens if a person doesn't have the dibur, but a person thinks about something and then it goes straight to ma'aser? So I don't know. I always thought that dibur was. It's not like you don't need to have dibur just because. Just in
If I want to know what you're thinking, I must have your dibur.
That's if you need
no way.
Right. What happens if I want to build something? Do I need to have dibur?
No, you have to have
say, yeah, the melech have to say to the people, do this.
No, not melech. Let's say regular case. If you yourself if you want to open a tanya, you need to have dibur for that. I can go open it.
So that's on machshava.
Right.
But you have to say the word.
You have to actually move it also.
You have to say the word.
Why do you have to say the word?
Because without the word, with the eye, you're not going to learn.
Oh, learning. But I'm saying let's say but you can have machshava. You can have machshava straight to ma'aser. For like I said, if you give tzedakah yourself,
How do you get to the point of tzedakah? If somebody asks you, you say this, you can't just a person not born and say, "Oh, you're thinking, oh, let's do tzedakah." You have to come with dibur. Somebody explain to them, this and this situation happened. You have to have the dibur have to be in the middle. You can't be without dibur.
Machshava could lead straight to ma'aser by you're just walking.
Can you imagine chavos people learning by just looking at each other?
No, okay, chavos obviously fine. You need to speak, but I think
why? Because we need to know what's the question. And says, I say, I know why your question is like that because you're thinking like that. And
but I still think you can have some case that machshava is going to go straight to ma'aser. No,
without the dibur.
Yeah.
Like what? Give us an example. Person think about Ebershter without talking nothing, it just
because the way that you're saying we said how the world was created, that if anybody that knows anything, they have to come through dibur.
Yeah. Without dibur, you would not know nothing.
But what happens? So the dibur, yeah, okay, fine. Dibur has to exist in the olam. What happens in each individual person? If somebody can't speak, there's people that can't speak. But so how does this work for them?
Instead of with the mouth, they do with the fingers. But it's
you're saying they still have to have this idea of
speaking.
Sure. That's what makes people unique.
Okay, that's not how I understood this thing over here, but maybe I don't know. because this the way I understood the next line is a little differently. That's why
Like you said, if you don't speak, there's no communication. No communication is the
I
worst.
agree that there has to be dibur b'chlal, but I think you can have as in let's say you're walking and you see some tissue on the floor and you pick it up and put it in the trash. Yeah, there's no what's the dibur there that somebody told you once when you were a kid that you have to pick it up and put it in there.
Somebody at one point, somebody teach you that the place has to be
But
clean.
what about right now? Right now, did it go from your machshava dibur and then ma'aseh, or went straight from your machshava to ma'aseh?
I'll show it to myself without dibo at all.
Right. So there are cases that it can go straight from your machshava to dibur.
To
The
myself.
machshava to ma'aseh, yeah.
Because sometimes you see people talking and you say he doesn't
Yeah,
thinking.
that's what it say. You have to
What's he do?
think
Then he
think before
talking.
you speak.
What's he do? Then he talking.
Yeah,
Then he
think before you speak.
Think.
Yeah. So like there are sometimes that is so between the machshava and the ma'aseh are so quick that it seemingly doesn't go through dibur.
It's almost like you see somebody born is standing on. No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
You must
Must
have a certain, level A, level two, and whatever. So
So we're going to explain that just as there's no difference, just as there's a massive gap from machshava, the way something is machshava is in a much higher level, how it is to dibur, right? One machshava there's a story with the Arizal, I think the Arizal, that he had a dream and it said whatever he had in the dream was take him 70 years to explain. Because the way something is a machshava, it's much more,
you could have insult.
you could have,
Sure, you
yeah,
could have insult.
yeah. Well, for example, they say that somebody has a dream to build a house and they think about everything. But if they want to go to an architect and tell them everything they want, it takes much longer. Why? Because they have to decide where the PowerPoints go and where this goes and where that goes.
All the details.
All the details take, yeah. So the way it is, something is machshavas in much more. In a way, that's the mila. So this explains the mila of dibra. That when you speak something out, then it becomes clearer because you have to go through all the process.
When you want to learn something by heart, like you said the words,
Right.
you learn it much faster. If
Yeah.
you read it, you're not gonna-
Because dibra has a certain mila the dibra has a mila. But here we're explaining the mila of machshava. We're going to explain that from machshava to dibur is a gap, is a jump, and then dibur to ma'aseh is another. There's a gam ksha adam oise ba'atma yizul davar. So this is what I was understanding, that when a person does something, he himself does it, and it's seemingly there's no dibur. There's no dibur to somebody else. He himself is going to pick something up.
I thought them also it's like a professor give a lecture for 1 hour of how bad is smoking,
And he goes and smokes.
and then he said, "Okay, we'll have a break. We'll come back and
Right.
take
And
a
he goes
cigarette." So the diva and the mice is two separate things.
No, I think here is when the machshava and the machshava and the mice are the same thing, but it seemingly is not going through dibur.
No.
Gam ksha adam oise ba'atma yizul davar harei koyach hanefesh v'chiyusa mislabesh b'asi yizu. He ka'ayin mamish legabe koyach hanefesh v'chiyusa mislabesh b'dibur adam b'dibur adam. Erech u'mashal ha'guf l'neshama. So first thing he said like this, yeah, that the way that the chayis comes in to the asiyah, to the whatever action he's doing, he ka'ayin mamish legabe koyach hanefesh v'chiyusa mislabesh b'dibur. Even though I don't know why I thought in this case there was no dibur, but the way that the chayis in the mice is in a much lower level, how it is compared to the dibur, it says a commercial haguf l'neshama, right? The way the guf and the neshama, they have two separate, complete, there's no erech between them. Saying
The neshama continue before the body and after
the body
and
and
the body. It's nothing to do with the body.
yeah, and saying the same gap is between the machshava and the dibur, and then also the dibur and mice. So it's totally inert. It says v'chein erech oisis hadibur la'oisis machshava. So the same gap is dibur machshava v'chein erech oisis machshava l'mhus hamida hamslabeshes ba mechayesa. V'chein hamida hamslabeshes ba mechayesa. V'chein erech mhus v'chayes hamida legabe achachma bina v'das. So the same thing is also by going up now. The same thing is by the midah. The same thing how the midah is getting from chachma bin das. Shechaluson hi aseichel shemeno nimshechem in the zu. So there's first explaining how ein arich it is that the chachma that something starts off with till it comes to the ma'aseh. First, it goes through Chachma, then it comes to Bina, then Das, then it comes to the Midas. In the Midas, then it goes to the Machshava, then to the Dibur, and then only then it comes to the Maisa. It says, "V'chol zeh b'nefesh ha'adam b'nefesh kol habruyim shev'chol ha'olamos ha'lyonim v'tachtonim shev'kulam ha'chachma yirishis v'makar chayis." So this part of the parak, the author was explaining how if you start how chachma and the ma'aseh of a person are totally in a row, and then we're going to have to explain how it is by Hashem that Hashem. We're going to explain if we can understand from our chachma to our ma'aseh is totally in a row, then obviously we can't understand how Hashem, who we're going to explain Hashem's chachma is the lowest part of Hashem is much more in a row than we can understand Hashem. That's going to be in Perek test in Perek test, yeah. I don't want to start Perek test today, so I want to speak about Elul because I heard a share from my cousin actually. I don't actually normally listen to his things, but there's a what's it called?
Which cousin?
There's a Mendel Perlov. His brother's with Label Perlov in Morristown. It's like what's it called? I don't know, some app. And so I clicked on it and it's clicked for Elul, his share came up. So it was a very nice share.
Where
So
did you find it?
I think it's called not Eitzach. I'll find it afterwards. Hechel. So he was explaining the idea of Elul. There's only 5 minutes left, so I'll try to make it very short. He's saying, explain like this. Yeah, till Hasidus came along, Hasidus was Elul was always a time of Yira, that they were totally scared. Like they gave the marshal of the lion that escaped and was running around, and everybody should. That's what the marshal they used to give, I think. To scare people that that Hashem is out to get people. You have to do tshuva.
Police said somebody a murder escaped the
jail, and everybody. And they had that once in some places. They think that like a few weeks ago they had it I think somewhere, not in like some random place. So they thought he was in a certain area, so they told everybody in that area to stay in their house. I don't know what happened in them.
Well, the point is that
to scare people, he used to give a mashal of the Aryeh. And I don't know if this is true, but he claimed that the marker for slichas, where does slichas come from? So he said that one guy couldn't sleep because he was worried that Rosh Hashanah is coming. So he decided he's going to go to shul early and he'll say Tehillim, I don't know, learn. And then he came and he saw that there was another person there. And then slowly, everybody throughout the month, people kept coming. So the Rav decided that instead of everybody doing their own thing, they should all say slichas together. That's where slichas came from. And it says like why is Rosh Hashanah so scary? Because it says like it's a mashal of Hashem that gives like a loan. You give a loan to someone, and then Rosh Hashanah comes, Hashem looks if they use it properly. That Hashem checks that dibur, machshava, and ma'aseh, if they use it out for something Hashem, and if they didn't use it out properly, then maybe Hashem is going to decide not to give it again. So that's a Chassidus that that Elul was a very scary time. Then in Chassidus itself, there were different stages, but there's one stage that Elul's Rosh Hashanah in Eliyadi v'Samtilach about Ari Miklat. So what's the connection between Ari Miklat? So explain what's Ari Miklat. Ari Miklat is for somebody that killed somebody else b'shogeg. And explain what's the idea of killing somebody. That every person has the chayis. What's the chayis? Chayis is something that you're living with. But after the person kills somebody right there, what do they kill? They only kill the chayis. The guf itself still exists.
No, it's the opposite.
Follow around, you're right. He kills the guf. You're right. He kills the guf. The chayis still exists. 1 second, so now.
The chayis, the guf is dead.
Chayis beguf is dead, but the
neshama is alive.
The neshama
is
alive.
Correct. The chayis of the body, he kills the chayis of the body. Yes, that is correct. So you explain like this: that every person, we all have that. We all have different things that we're involved with throughout the year, and the question is, what's our chayis in? Is our chayis in what we eat and what we think and what we do, or is our chayis in serving the Eibishter? So you explain that the whole month, the whole year, you do whatever your chayis is in this, your chayis in that. It comes Elul, that the idea of Ari Miklat, that you put that somebody you realize that it could be that by mistake you killed your chayis you were using for the wrong thing. So Elul comes, you go to an Ari Miklat. What Ari Miklat? Ari Miklat is the whole idea of Torah and Oisius of Tefillah and Torah and Tefillah. So you go into a month of Elul, like the month of of Torah and Tefillah to fix up for the fact that but maybe throughout the year you used your chayis for the wrong thing. That was one idea. Then he explained even more. Then he brought the mashal of the Baal Shem Tov about the. I'm going very quick because we only have 3 minutes left. But
we have as much time as you get.
No, we need to get real.
We have as much time as it takes to get 10 people.
We have downstairs too.
Maybe not 8.
then he brought the mashal of the from the Baal Shem Tov. That also mashal from the Baal Shem Tov that there was once a king, and the king had a son who he wanted to take over, but what happened that the son only grew up in the king's palace, so the king knew that he didn't really know how to deal with the people, so he sent him to the furthest place, sent him to jail. What's the jail here that they put the worst people?
Rikers Island.
Rikers Island. They sent him to Rikers Island, and he was there, and basically throughout he came and he started telling them the first day that that there's a king, and they all made fun of him, and especially in jails, they're not very kind to people, the inmates, so they bashed him up probably and whatever. So he learned his lesson. And eventually he decided he's just going to try to fit in with them. So he started doing whatever. And eventually he was there for enough time. He became one of them. Started doing whatever they did. And anyways, one day he gets a letter in the mail.
Spoke their language.
He spoke their language. Yeah, you can imagine what happens in jail. I don't know what happens in jail. But you can imagine. So one day he gets a letter, and in this jail it's full of criminals. No one gets letters, and he sees that there's the stamp of the king, and it was so long that he could barely remember how to read. And he basically made up that the king wrote, "I hope you're doing well with your shlichus, and next week the carriage is going to come to bring you home." And he remembers all of a sudden that what he was supposed to be doing, and how far he went. But he realized in a week he's going home, so he's decided he went to get a haircut, he cut his nails, he did all the things he was supposed to do. And he came home and he told his father, "You know what? I don't think I can be king because I got sent away for 2 weeks and look what happened." So his father, as the king, told him no. He said, "I knew that it wasn't going to work out. But I wanted to see if while you were away, you would remember that you were still supposed to be. I wanted to see if you remember your shlichus and that you're going to be king." And he said, "I see that you've passed, that you remember that you're going to be king, and you did remember your shlichus even after everything you went through, so you can become king." He said the same idea as El, that throughout the whole year you get sidetracked by random things. What comes Chodesh El, it's a month before. The whole idea is that we remember our shlichus, remember why the Eibush sent us to the world, and that's the idea of
Very, very nice.
of El. Yeah.
So I was a little again the fish is shaking.
So what are the fish? Fish also have a shlichus.
Well, the fish are shaking because you know what happens Rosh Hashanah.
No.
Saying because tashlich.
That, and also some people have head of a fish. Whatever.
Some people make a fun of something.
Yeah, it's true.
No, not Yom Kippur. Well, Rosh Hashanah.
Take a plate of
Fish.
sushi and make the kaparasi.
Some people have the head of a fish on Rosh Hashanah.
Not really know some of the game.
Many people
Fish is
have.
better than money because it's alive.
Anybody's coming from Ireland?
Yeah.
He's upstairs. Julie asked how many were she?
2.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Oh,
Thank you, Rabbi. Good job.
this time we
Pleasure.
made it this week.
Subway was slow. I don't know what took me so.
Because of the
rain.
From
The rain. When it's raining, the subway will go very slow.
Why?
They can't go on the truck fast. I was trying to
Yeah, because it could slip off.
No, but also like there was another train going on the B line or the A train or whatever, so there was more packed. Whatever. Between stations. In the
Okay.
station I could watch the Shiur, but between the
I saw that it
stations-
kept coming off on and off.
Yeah.
I think because it goes
Every
on
time it goes on, I'm in the
It
station.
goes up there and then-
I guess there's Wi-Fi in the
That's
station. Once you go into the tunnel, there's no.
Right, there's no.
But once you go up the ground over here,
Oh, here's good.
it's good.
Over ground, yeah.
Yeah.
Above ground, it's not.
Yeah, but here's good the whole.
Wait, so how do you know? How do you know?